struggling to build a perfect desk setup that meets your needs and fits in the space you have? Well, you clicked on the right video to solve that problem. Like most people out there looking to create their ideal workspace, I had to overcome a few challenges that come with the desk setup process, like limited space, budgetary constraints, the hurdle of ergonomic design, and after a few days of constant tinkering and moving things around in this tiny space that used to be a storage room, the result was this cohesive, functional and aesthetic space that I'm about to take you through a tour of all the items and how you can make your setup also functional and aesthetic as a regular person. Buckle up and let's go for the ride. Getting into it, the fact that majority of people don't have a dedicated room to build their desk setup, most people will resort to having it in one of the corners of their living or bedrooms like I did for this setup, and thus the size of the desk is going to be dictated by the available space. To put that into context, I had about 3,200 millimeters to use in terms of length, 1,320 millimeters in terms of depth, then factor in the door opening inwards and chewing up 820 millimeters, I'm left with only 2,380 millimeters to work with. Luckily, my good friends at Desky had the perfect size desktop for me to use. At 1500 millimeters in length and 750 millimeters deep, it's big enough to accommodate all my accessories and peripherals, all the while leaving enough clearance for my chair to fit in. More on the chair, accessories and peripherals a little later in the video. Circling back to the desktop, it just screams premium craftsmanship where every grain, hue and imperfection tells a story of timeless elegance, and that's not all. You've also got the choice to go with teak, walnut, pheasant wood, salmon, red oak, the list goes on, and the best part is they're currently running their end of financial year sale, which can help you chop off 150 Australian dollars at checkout with code DUAL150. Just a disclaimer, this isn't a sponsored video. The discount code is exactly what's written on the website, and I'm recommending a product I've personally bought and used for over 3 years. Moving along, another way to go about it is buying a countertop from your local hardware like Home Depot or Bunnings, not forgetting the Sargent and Calby from IKEA, then cutting them to size and mounting it on legs or drawers like the Alex from IKEA or this one from Desky. The only gripe I have with the Sargent and Calby is they're not that deep, which can be limiting when it comes to decking out your desk with accessories and peripherals. Speaking of accessories and peripherals, these are another important part of a desk setup, and depending on your use case and preference, they may vary from person to person, but the must-haves in my opinion will always be a monitor, keyboard, mouse, monitor light, a desk shelf and desk mat. Starting with the monitor, in my opinion, for a small desk like this one, anything between 27 and 34 inches would be good, and for this particular one, I went with a 34 inch and for a few good reasons. By the way, that's not to say anything below that wouldn't work. For this 34 inch, I like it because it's got a decent sized screen for productivity, and whether you're a student trying to complete your assignments while researching or an accountant populating an Excel sheet while collecting data from the internet, it allows for all that thanks to apps like Magnet on Mac or the integrated split screen on Windows. Case in point, I'm using Windows 11 on this computer, and to use split screen I can do it in a few different ways. One is by snapping a window to the side and filling up the remaining space with another window, or snap it to one of the corners and it leaves you with 4 screen positions to fill, but by far the best way is hovering around the maximize button, as it gives you a bunch of split screen layouts to choose from, and from there you can pick the one that best suits you. In case you're wondering what brand this is, it's the LG 34WQ650. While on the subject of this monitor, a monitor light is another essential, especially when trying to beat those assignment deadlines or completing a report late at night. For those who might not know, when you look at a screen for long periods of time, the screen glare starts to cause irritation in various forms, otherwise known as computer vision syndrome, and that's where a monitor light comes in. When it comes to which one you should pick, Qantas and Xiaomi are really budget options, and for this setup I went with Xiaomi and it set me back only 72 Australian dollars. Compared to the likes of the BenQ screen by Halo, it offers more or less the same functionality for quarter the price. As for the keyboard and mouse, they go hand in hand, and for the regular person, you could get a decent keyboard for as little as 50 Australian dollars, and in the case of this setup, both the keyboard and mouse set me back 80 Australian dollars and they work perfectly well. Something to note though, they're usually stock standard, so they won't pack loads of customization options. So for those who want a bit more customization like that on the MX Keys S combo, you'll have to fork out a little bit more, and when you jump to the enthusiast keyboard market, the price skyrockets even more. Other accessories to consider are a desk mat and desk shelf, and starting with the desk shelf, besides their main function of providing storage for the desk, they also add lots of visual structure by hiding exposed cables and items you don't want to be seen on the desk. In terms of quality, this is one area I recommend going for a good quality one, and although they are not easy to come by on Amazon, getting something like this one from Desky would guarantee you years and years of use thanks to the excellent build quality. Moving along, additional accessories like a speaker, microphone and camera would also be ideal if you consume content on your desk, edit videos, have online classes or Zoom meetings, just to name but a few. Starting with the speakers, getting a good budget one isn't always easy, but luckily while on my internet escapades, I stumbled on these Edifier speakers, and at 145 Australian dollars, in my opinion, they sound better than my Kanto YU2 speakers, which cost me 4 times as much. Here's a sound test for you guys. Let me know what you think. As for the camera, there's lots of options to choose from, and I went with the BenQ Idea Cam S1 Pro, which is a good mid-range option that offers lots of features like automatic smart focus, enhanced focus thanks to the included magnifying glass, plus so much more. Now, even though the inbuilt camera microphone of the BenQ Idea Cam S1 Pro works perfectly well, it can never be as good as that one of a dedicated microphone like this one here, the Fifine Tank 3 USB XLR microphone. Its sound quality punches above its price, and this would make you sound so professional in those Zoom meetings. Here's a sound test of the two, let me know what you think. This is the audio coming from the inbuilt mic of the BenQ Idea Cam S1 Pro. And this is the audio coming from the Fifine Tank 3 USB XLR microphone that only cost 89 American dollars. Moving along, with all the accessories and peripherals stacked on your desk, you'll definitely need a good cable management system, and the one I'm currently using from Desky is by far my favorite. Not only does it perform its main role of cable management exceptionally well, but also allows for easy access in case you add accessories in the future, comes with power board slots to accommodate to your power needs as your setup grows, just to name but a few. If that's not your style, you can get cable management trays like this one from Amazon, and they'll do a decent job of ensuring your desk remains neat all the while maintaining its functionality. Another cable management solution which doesn't get its props is a good monitor arm, as most of the cable mess starts from the cables plugged into the computer. This one from Desky neatly directs the cables to the underside of the desk, thus ensuring there's no cable clutter. More on the other functionality of the monitor arm a little later in the video. Speaking of functionality, you can't mention it without talking about ergonomics, and that's where a good quality chair and sit stand desk come into play. Using this setup as an example, I'm using the Desky Dual sit stand frame, and tell you what, by far one of the best in the market, and I can attest to that having used the same desk frame in my main setup. Its strong motorized legs can carry up to 140 kilograms, so a monitor and a few accessories would be absolute child's play. The control module also offers a few different ways to control it, whether it's voice command like this,
"Hey Siri, Desky down,"
app control, or the full programmable settings. You've got a host of options to choose from during those long work or study sessions, and that helps a lot with blood flow, which is essential when undertaking brain-intense tasks. As for the chair, even though maintaining good posture is mostly dependent on you, a good chair plays a big role in that, and this Eames office chair definitely delivers. The soft sharper fabric screams class, and to be honest, explaining how comfortable it is from this side of the camera doesn't do it any justice. The armrests perfectly line up with the desk, thus ensuring your arms are almost at 90 degrees, which is the ideal angle when typing. As for lumbar support, the lower part of the backrest perfectly cushions your lower back, so when locked in researching and typing up the script for this video, I was seated for almost 3 hours, but because the chair is just too comfortable, I lost track of time and barely felt fatigued. If you're in the market for a desk chair, I highly recommend this chair, and if the color doesn't suit you, you can get a somewhat similar one like the one I've got in my main setup. Wrist rests are another important feature of desk ergonomics, but at the time of shooting, my order hadn't arrived. Moving along, another accessory that plays a big part in the ergonomics of your setup is a monitor arm, and for this setup I went with a Desky heavy duty monitor arm in white. If you'd ask me, I'd highly recommend getting one as it not only creates space on your desk setup by reducing visual clutter, but also adds the much needed ergonomics by allowing different configurations, whether you want to swivel to the right, left, further back, rotate the monitor, or have it closer to your face. With the main part of the desk pretty much all laid out, you definitely need a space to store your files, books, and all the little knickknacks that lay around your desk, and that's where a filing cabinet comes in. There's a variety of options to choose from, and whether it's the classic IKEA Alex drawers or something like this filing cabinet from Desky, the choice is absolutely yours. Starting with this filing cabinet, it offers ample room for organizing documents, stationery, and other desk essentials, so whether you're a student or data analyst, you'll have somewhere to store your never-ending pile of files. As for the Alex drawers, they offer the same functionality, and you can never go wrong in terms of storage when you get yourself one. At this point, the main aspects of a desk setup are pretty much ticked, but since we want to make it inviting and a spectacle for the senses, the personalization spanner jumps in the works. This is where you add items that give your space a bit of character. In case you didn't know, studies have tied visual appeal with productivity in the sense that a more visually appealing setup has a higher likelihood to motivate you to do whatever task you have at hand, and I'm sure most of you would agree working, let alone sitting in a cluttered and disorganized room, isn't a fun experience. Now, you might be wondering where to start, and this is where things like memorabilia, plants, and anything that best brings out your personality gets displayed at different spots on your setup. Case in point, I added some plants, abstract paintings, this vintage typewriter, and mushroom lamp with a pop of orange to give the space some visual interest, and judging from the reception it's got so far, the decor pieces and plants definitely passed the test. Well, that about wraps up the perfect desk setup for the regular person, and if you'd ask me, the perfect desk setup isn't about having the most expensive gadgets, but about optimizing your workspace to suit your individual needs and preferences by ensuring it's functional, cohesive, and aesthetic. As always, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. To watch the step-by-step process of how I built this setup, check out this video. Until then, people of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.